I'm Heyzeus, and this video is about 5 times Valve destroyed the value of people's CSGO skins, sponsored by swap.gg, more about them later, and anyway, over the years, Valve has released various updates that have basically wrecked the prices of people's CSGO skins, and sometimes wrecked them permanently. Sometimes people never got their money back, and funnily enough, we're going to see that a lot of the time, Valve probably did the right thing with these. So let's get into things. Without further ado, at number 5, we have the operations. Now, if you're new to CSGO, you'll probably know operations as a thing that people immediately start screaming at Valve for as soon as they so much as sneeze on Twitter. But back in the day when operations were a thing, they had a key property. There were a few recurring collections that kept being dropped each time Valve ran an operation, and naturally, if the skins were dropping, well, there was more of them around, meaning that their prices would fall. But here's the thing, a lot of that fall wasn't gradual. Each time a new operation dropped, people would start literally tripping over themselves to sell off their skins ASAP, causing the prices to get dropped harder than a Master of Ki in a martial arts contest. I've picked out a few prime examples, and if people didn't lose their nerve, they probably wouldn't have lost so much money. But as humans, we have a tendency to act like a bunch of panic-stricken sheep whenever something dramatic happens. So the market panicked, and if you were one of these people who bought these items at their peak prices, you were in for a really bad day. You wouldn't be seeing that money back for years. Not that I'm complaining though, because I love operations. Unless they're on my prostate. Anyway, at number 4 is the Tech-9 Nerf. Now, the pistols of CSGO have an interesting history. For years, they completely undermined the competitive integrity of the game by being overpowered, although, on the bright side, at least we had competitive integrity to be undermined in the first place, unlike some other games. But after years of imbalance, Valve gradually started to fix up these guns. First they nerfed the CZ, that was probably the most egregious example. People were making jokes at the time like calling LDLC, LDLCZ, but eventually they got to the Tech-9, and after tinkering with it on a few occasions, Valve came in and did an outright pile driver on the gun, basically killing its competitive usefulness in a single blow. Seriously, this gun can barely hit a fucking thing after the first shot now. And people haven't really used it much after the nerf. I'm sure there's still some holdouts, but a lot of people just went back to the CZ. People suddenly realized that the CZ was overpowered again, and this was not good for the price of Tech-9 skins. They went from being highly desirable to kind of mid-tier overnight, and the ultimate fall in price did take a bit longer. It wasn't quite so sudden, and eventually Valve stepped in to try and make the gun a bit more competitive. I think they realised they went too far, but it's never really quite recovered. Still, having lived through the Tech-9, or should I say Rec-9 era, I can't say that I'm shedding too many tears. It might not have been great if you had a Tech-9 as a play skin, but I think the game is probably better off with it nerfed. So, number 3, the M4 A1S nerf. Now, there was once a time in a distant age when everyone used the M4 A1S, so much so that Valve actually had to bump up its price to $3,200 to even try and make it competitive with the M4A4, but even that didn't work. People stuck with the A1S, except for Freiberg, he liked the A4 for some reason. So, Valve went for the nuclear option, and outright gutted the weapon with an update in September 2015. They nerfed the fire rate and they increased the spread, and while the change in the spread hardly mattered, the change in the fire rate was a massive nerf, and in competitive terms, the relevance of this weapon sure got the snip. It dropped right off. These days, you'll hardly ever see it in high level play, but when it comes to casual play, the change wasn't an outright castration so much as a gradual dieback. Sure, you can see the drop off at the time on the M4 A1S skins that were around at that point. There weren't that many M4 A1S skins back then, by the way, but you can see that they did drop off. But interestingly, they kept going down. Most old covert skins pick up in the long run, but these M4 A1S skins that predate the nerf, well, they never really seemed to get over it. They kept going down. Newer M4A1S skins don't really show the same problem, at least not to the same extent, but the price of these older skins has just kept on going down. Although, to be fair, arguably their prices were kind of inflated to begin with. So maybe this is just another example of Valve restoring balance to the game. Maybe it was a harsh but necessary move for the greater good of CSGO. Anyway, number 2, the community sticker series. So if you go on CSGO Stash and look through the list of stickers, you'll find these things, the community sticker series, and essentially these are an older model of releasing stickers that Valve doesn't do as much anymore. Part of the reason you haven't heard of them is that the stickers are mostly shit, but also because they're not really displayed as a collection, they just pop up on the in-game menu and you can buy them there. Now, Valve had a habit of randomly stopping selling these things in-game without any warning, and people didn't really stock up on these things in huge numbers, so this tended to lead to their prices going kind of nuts after Valve stopped selling them, because if you wanted one, well, there was only a limited supply and you had to get them on the Steam market. So if we look at the War Hour sticker, for example, one of the best stickers in the series, in my opinion, at its peak, it went up in price about 20-fold. It dropped off a bit after that, but you can see what being discontinued was doing to the sticker. On paper, this was an amazing investment, but if you listen to what investors were saying at the time, well, there were some nerves about things. It wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. So to quote Hostile Hero, who today is a mod on the CSGO market subreddit, "I'm always a bit afraid from the series. Unlike capsule stickers, Valve could fuck us over any time with these." So what he means by this is that he's a bit worried that Valve might randomly start selling these stickers again, given there's no clear process by which they're discontinued, like there is for cases. And Hostile Hero was a bit of a savant in this case, because in November 2016, Valve was like, fuck it, let's start selling these stickers again, and sticker after sticker after sticker had their prices completely destroyed in the process, which can't have been fun for anyone who owned them, although to be fair, Valve hadn't given any guarantees, but there is a case of them causing even crazier carnage than that, which brings us to number 1 on the list, the StatTrak USP-S Orion, and the culprit here was the update that ended Operation Vanguard, and if you scroll down, you'll notice an interesting detail in the patch notes. Trade-up contracts work on StatTrak weapons. So, it may be hard to imagine now, but for the first year and a half of trade-up contracts, you couldn't actually do trade-ups using StatTrak weapons. It seems that Valve wanted them to be different or something, but they eventually backtracked, probably because they felt it distorted the prices pretty badly, and naturally, this also meant that the update was going to cause a bit of chaos. Now, if you were the owner of a StatTrak Blue or StatTrak Purple skin, you made bank out of this. The price of those weapons went up like crazy, but if you had StatTrak Pinks or Reds, it wasn't quite so good. You lost some money. Here's the AWP Boom, for example. It's not awful, but you're definitely worse off. But if you had a StatTrak USP-S Orion, well, you got fucked. You see, when the Orion was removed from the Huntsman case, it was still kept in the collection. You could still get it from a trade-up contract. Except, of course, you couldn't actually trade up for the StatTrak version, so that one was effectively discontinued. Right up until this update hit, at which point you could suddenly trade up for this skin, and that was not good for the price. A lot of people bought a StatTrak Orion thinking it was discontinued forever, and they took a pretty big L that day. There's still quite a few unhappy messages that you can find on the Steam forums about it as well. I lost €150 because of this update. My StatTrak USP-S Orion yesterday cost €200 and now 55? What the fuck? Rest in peace, the StatTrak economy. He's also got all caps to emphasize how important it is. And finally, what the fuck this update, man? Bug, bug, bug all the time. Bug, refix it, motherfucker! Now, I do feel a bit sorry for these people. It's not fun losing a heap of money because of an update, but really, there's no reason why StatTrak items shouldn't be able to be traded up for, and unfortunately, there had to be some casualties. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this video. Before I go, I just want to say a couple of quick words about swap.gg. Swap.gg is a trading site where you can trade your CSGO skins quickly, easily, and safely. It's got a much lower sales tax than the community market and supports multiple games, including Rust and Dota 2. If you want an item that's currently under a trade hold, there's a reserve system so you can keep it marked for you, and you can also get a 20% bonus by cashing in directly. So if you're looking to put money in to buy some skins, it's much cheaper to do it here than on the Steam market. You'll get more bang for your buck, and links are in the description. Anyway, Thanks very much for watching. If you enjoyed this vid, please like, comment, subscribe. Otherwise, trust the numbers, not your gut. I'm Heyzeus. See ya.